All right, guys, I'm online. I'll wait a few more minutes, maybe 1-2 minutes, and we will go and check what's happening with the Bitcoin price. And if you do hear me and you do see me well, please leave some comment like a sign of like plus sign or something. It seems like everything's fine on my side. Somehow I cannot get the chat done in the same window. I have to pop out chat from the YouTube studio. That's kind of weird. Okay, I guess I shall share the stream on the Telegram to show that we are live. There you go. Okay, so I see a couple of people watching, and I don't expect too many, maybe like 10 or something in total. So I don't think that we shall waste time and wait for too many of you. But generally, guys, what's our plan here today is that we will look at the price of Bitcoin. We'll go through some of the altcoins and trends, and we pick one of those maybe one or two of those who are who look reasonable. And also I would like to show, reasonable in terms of the trading setup for a nice trade. And also I would like to share my opinion on what is happening kind of mid to long term with BTC. Are we going to the moon, or we are having some other things happening? All right. In any case, for those of you who are watching, thank you for joining. I appreciate that, and my apologies for being rare here on YouTube, but you know, life and so many things are happening. Was pretty busy, but at the same time, I kept updating you with Telegram messages and Twitter posts as well. So I think that we are good to go. All right, here is our chart for the recent days and like 2-3 weeks. Basically, there are several important points. If you remember, when last time we were talking about the ETF potential good news for Bitcoin, and we went pretty high on those news. And what happened after that is that we made a new all-time high. So our previous all-time high was around $65,000 in April 2021 and we made a little higher than that. We went almost 67,000, and then there was a correction, and pretty reasonable correction, although I would expect it to go lower to something like a previous high, $53,000, and then go up. But it didn't happen. Instead, after the correction, we saw this sideways price channel evolving, and then price went higher after this recent, what was it? I don't think that there was like a major news event or something like that, but generally after the consolidation we see the breakout, and I've been thinking that we will go either to the new channel to the upside or to the new channel to the downside. Well, it went to the upside, but this is a little bit like a suspicious move to me, at least in the way how it performs. So I will tell you what I think should happen here. And generally, again, you remember that situation around $40,000 when we were testing that level many times and the price didn't go through, although technically usually when the price is trying to test certain level many times, the more times tests it, the more likely it is about to be broken. But here it is pretty much similar. So we tried to test that level of 59.6, and this level is actually like the top previous of the previous channel here, previous like a zone of huge volume. So we were effectively trading above that zone. I don't consider this as an important area, just like a false breakout to the upside. So we were trading above that zone. So we're kind of holding it above it, and despite all those tests we saw here, eventually price went up. So pretty much the same as we saw here. So it's kind of bullish. Yet I would expect, or at least I would like to see something like this here. So last time when we saw the rise from almost like 29,000 to 53, I would expect, or I hoped, to see more reasonable behavior and the drop below $38.6,000. So it's 61 Fibonacci. It is well below those intermediate lows, and we will grab some liquidity there, and then price could go higher. So that would be like a reasonable correction, and also that would kind of develop this wedge in a more reasonable fashion. So instead of that, we went up. So that there was not such a nice like a organic move there. Still, it's still doable, still okay. Here though, so what we see here is that maybe from up to this high or up to this high. So the idea is, again, we are seeing the correction. So let's say this one is 38.2 almost. So it's kind of okay. But after that, what we saw is that after the correction, we made a new high, right? But that high was so close to the previous one, to the 67,000. So we went to $69,000, less than 70. So it was so close that it smells like a false breakout. And in fact, that huge rise, almost without any corrections, so strong, so fast, almost looks like a squeeze. So instead of having a like a greening to the upside, and actually the multiple tests of the previous high, like 67,000, and then a breakout, and then holding above it, we saw like a surge to 69 and almost immediately drop. Moreover, if you look at the fine structure here, so we went to 68.6, went lower back to test this 67,000, then like a massive squeeze again with a huge volume. So instead of holding at 67, 68, we almost immediately dropped back. So it smells like, and moreover, if we look at that even in a greater detail, then we saw that like a slow decline after 68 and 5.5, and then we almost pierced that to go to the correction, like a correction period phase, but instead we went up. So generally, how it looks to me is that we just collected the stop orders and liquidations for the long-term player, for people who went long. Then we did the same thing, but for people who went short here, and then again we moved to the downside, as it is supposed to be from if you look at this price action. And again, we pretty much collected a lot of liquidity, but for the people who already went up on the expectation for this to evolve further. In fact, all of that was when the altcoins were moving to the upside. So that was kind of like a precursor for the new rise in Bitcoin, which often happens on the bull market. That's great. That you would expect and would you hope to see. However, instead of going to the upside much more, we saw that dramatic drop. I haven't seen much of the like news or something for this to be explained. So as you know, well, show me the price and I'll show you, show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. So again, nothing is here. Maybe something from the SEC, but not exactly massive. What I would point out though is if we look at the major indices like S&P, you see we saw that rise pretty much similar to BTC and altcoins, and then we saw the drop. So it is very, very much confluent with what we see in crypto. Again, small market goes after the huge liquidity markets. So pretty much I think it's defined by the algorithms and bots which are driving the price action here. Okay, so this is one point. So my conclusion here is like a major one is that we still would like to see some more dramatic correction here, because well, currently from the top we just saw 23.6. If we stop there, if like 64,000 holds, or at least the bottom of this green zone holds, then we could continue going to the sideways and then make a new high. It's totally possible. But as soon as we see grinding to the downside more and more, testing maybe 23.6 by Fibo again, then my bet is that we are going to test lower Fibonacci levels. Lower Fibonacci level is 38.2. We already were there, right? And testing it again, well, we could of course repeat this story and this story all over again for the third time, but I hardly believe it. So I think it's more likely that if we test 38.2, then this is broken. This is $58,000. If it is broken, then the path is open to get this 61.8 by Fibonacci, which is a little bit below than 53,000 and somewhere around the top of this huge volume trading area, which is totally reasonable. However, so you say that sounds pretty bearish. In fact, it's not really bearish. If you look at the situation in a greater scheme, so you see what we see now is that after this rise to 65,000 or something, we saw the correction 50% because of the long and almost no correction rise before this uptrend. It had to be corrected, not 30-40%, but deeper. So we saw that, and the correction of the drop or kind of new midterm trend, which is a rising trend, couldn't happen too fast because of the previous accumulation and previous trend length and so on. So we had to wait for a while, and then it's again perfectly possible and reasonable that after this correction and this dip we could go much higher. So this is what we see from there. And basically, if you are like looking at the fundamentals, the basics, we see the low here, high here, low here, high here. What it means is that there's a higher highs, higher lows. This is the traditional textbook example of the rising trend. So generally, again, here we are in the rising trend. Okay, so even if we see the correction to $50,000 or $53,000, which I've been talking about as a potential scenario, then it's still a higher low. So still from the $33,000 for $50,000, it's a healthy stop of the correction for this rise, and then we could finally go much higher. And of course, altcoins will follow. The question is only that first, whether we go there or not, and whether it is the level to hold. Because if it doesn't hold, then that is a question whether this trend is over or not, because then we have $40,000, and then this low is around the same level, could be, and then it's hard to say whether it is not changed in terms of the trend direction here. A little bit of alarming fact that if you look at this area and how the price is kind of getting curved around its top, and this area is pretty similar, and in fact this area is also kind of similar, then it doesn't look like a well, they look pretty similar. I mean, after that we saw the drop, after that we saw the drop, so here we might see the drop as well. Also, let's say on a daily time frame, it's not the ideal one, but still we see the bearish divergence. So highs are going high on the price, but highs are going lower on the indicator. It's not the greatest thing, right? Also, the volume goes down, which means that the trend is not getting stronger. Well, those are like skeptical points, right? But again, as you saw, that is mixed with some kind of optimism here because of the fact that the trend is still there, it's still bullish, and there's still a chance that we will continue going higher, even if we have a correction. Speaking about the altcoins though, for the Ethereum, for example, we are going up even, I wouldn't say stronger, but even more in a more confident way. So we have this channel ascending channel similar to this one. So there was also an ascending channel, no corrections, sideways, another leg to the upside, drop. Ascending channels are made to be broken to the downside. Descending channels are made to be broken to the upside. This is like a very obvious channel which everyone sees, and it's developed again by the textbook scenario when we see the resistance support flip, and so on and so forth. So recently, after the drop, we had this hit of the support line over there. So this is the bottom part of the channel, and the question is whether it holds or not. So if it doesn't hold, then it's probably the trend for all the altcoins and Bitcoin in general, and we could see a lot of the continuation of this to the downside. So, but again, that is, well, I mean, this correction has to be has to happen because it's the healthy thing for such a growth. And again, we might stop somewhere around $4,000. So here, previous high. If we stop there, and if we see the pullback from there, that level, that's perfect. That's the setup for the continuation of the rise. So far, we're just a little bit above of the previous high, which still may sound like or may look like a fake out. Because, well, generally, if the price after a long period of time, like it happens with the major cycles of Bitcoin or indices or gold or whatever, when the price goes above its previous high, then it means that we are entering the new bull phase. Statistically, that's correct. And here we do the same. However, if such a situation appears, it might be a very nice setup for the double top or the fake out, and then we go much lower. So we cannot exclude that. So basically this level of $4,000 or here $4,300 has to hold. Ideally, we shouldn't drop below like $4,000 or $3,500. So if we go below 3,500, then the situation is pretty bad because we are going back to this triangle. We may form something like a wedge, which is pretty massive. That's why it's not really reasonable, but still, meaning that all our bullish setup is not valid as it was before. Pretty much the same with BTC. So if we are seeing that price going above the previous high, like $65,000, but then not holding it there, no impulse, then that's not great. That's not the price action which you would like to see for the bullish trend, major bullish trend. So again, fake out is possible, double top is possible, and I'm looking at the altcoins, right? So altcoins are performing pretty well, and I would like to show you that there is a distinct difference between the two types of altcoins currently. Okay, like Ether. So you see that it goes up above the previous high, pretty bullish from like middle of summer this year, and it doesn't, so it's pretty volatile, right? but it's still volatility is predominantly to the upside, meaning that it's strong, right? It's at least comparable with the Bitcoin. So on the overall market, like average market level, maybe higher. Solana, you see, pretty similar. So it goes above the previous high. The trend is to the upside, and it's actually pretty technical. So again, this high, this low on the same level, this support, resistance support flip. Here it's all the same. So in fact, Solana right now, after the exit from this ascending wedge, which is a bearish formation, and we actually almost reached the target here, following this high or matching this high, it means that we are in a perfect setup for the rise, actually. So if it goes up, it doesn't go below this 220 maybe dollars, then that's good to go. That's perfect bullish setup. And this is one of the new altcoins comparing with the old ones like XRP or Ether or Litecoin or whatever. And it shows this bullish behavior, right? Of course, Ether shows the same. However, this is probably one of the exception among the all other old altcoins. I will show you another one, Dash. Dash is kind of an old, well, I would call it old school altcoin. It didn't go above previous high here, right? But it's still in the rising trend, right? And it went out from the triangular formation, which is a consolidation pattern, after we were at the top. So it still shows its bullishness. We found the support on the resistance of this triangle, and we are going up. So generally, it's a nice setup to rise. But there are others like Cardano. So I like Cardano, but just compare, for example, Cardano with Solana, and you see how different the price action is. So Cardano made a higher high here. So it was around $2.4 per coin, and it went to $3. And then after that, we saw the correction. So we saw the correction with like a major level of $2. And then, although it tried to go up from to the upside from this descending wedge, after that, no, we extended it to the triangle, symmetrical triangle, and then broke it to the downside. And although with the recent rise, it also showed some impulse, but we almost immediately went down to the same kind of zone, and giving high chance that for the continuation of the decline in price, or at least sideways for a long time. So it's weaker, right? It's weaker than Ether. It's weaker than Solana. It's weaker than, for example, Tezos. It's weaker, although Tezos is not so great example. It's weaker than Polkadot. So another example of the bullish altcoin. Again, it was previously here. It went up. It broke the previous all-time high, and all that is a bullish trend. So this is an asset which is stronger than the average like a market condition. So when you pick an altcoin, of course, first you need to see whether there's a setup, for example, for the future rise. So I showed you Solana. Polkadot is pretty much similar. So you see this high resistance flip event here, the wedge, which is broken to the upside, but then again, high, low. We are in a very nice situation for the rise. So if we are not scared to set our stop loss somewhere around $42 or maybe even $40. If we're not scared about that, then we could easily enter somewhere around here and follow its future rise, because currently it's in a very, very high chance, or at least very nice potential for the rise. The same as ETH, the same as Solana. So we just have to hold about certain fundamental levels for those altcoins. And the major point here, though, is whether Bitcoin, of course, support that. If we indeed go down not below 33 or at least 50, 53 or $50,000, that's awesome. That means that eventually all those altcoins will be stronger and go much higher than their current values. On the other hand, it's very hard to enter, right? So you would like to get that 38.2 or 61% Fibonacci retracement here on the rise in order to be confident in terms of the future potential of the rise. Here you don't have it. It's really hard to enter without setting a huge stop loss value. So that's pretty risky. That's what I actually had a hard time with when I tried to use it for the bull trades here. So like 80% of them are short orders, short trades. Bull trades are so easily get stopped out, and that's pretty a huge problem here. But still, somehow it's possible to do as soon as you lower the risk. So I may be more a short-term trader here. That's why that's not my ideal strategy, but for some of you it's better. Of course, as usual, not a financial advice, guys, just my consideration of the market here. But the thing is, right now we might be in a very, very nice situation for the opportunity of the growth of the nice entry. As soon as we hold 50,000 and set our entry for the long here, that's a great position. But again, don't forget to set your stop loss, because of course it's possible that it's triggered and you get some loss of your position there, but without it you may appear to be in a very, very bad situation if, let's say, this double top scenario plays out and will go much lower. Then your loss will be much worse. Okay, so that is pretty much it. Short term, I think I can show you some of the, well, you know, all that I did those tweets and those Telegram messages regularly. So generally, you probably have heard about all of them. Just would like to show again that many altcoins going up from their consolidation patterns here, like triangular formations, whether those are ascending channels, descending channels, or the symmetrical channels and triangles, but that's the general trend. And the more we see that, that's pretty much the same as we saw with the situation here. No, not here. Let me look. Let's say dash, right? So there was a descending wedge for many altcoins, and then all of them went up, so played out perfectly. And then we see a major situation with such accumulation. Like that was a local one, and here is like a major. So if it plays out, then this is the very nice setup for the major rise. However, just one take it with a grain of salt, because still a lot of altcoins are doing not ideally here. And I would like to compare, give you some of the perspective. Let's say another one which we looked already is Solana, right? So what we do see here first is that there was a first rise, and then like a totally vertical move recently, and then even a new all-time high. First of all, you see the previous, like a low price was about $2, right? Even lower. We made 100x on this altcoin, and many other new altcoins did the same thing. So 100x. So if we are thinking about the new wave of the market to the upside, like altcoins going new access, giving you new access, how much do you think they will give you if they already made 100x? Well, do you still expect them make another 100? It's very unlikely. Do you expect them to make like 10? Could be, but still pretty hard. So maybe 2-3x. So do you really want to try it and take that risk for that rise? I'm not sure. So it has to be really a new paradigm, a new this major trend for BTC has to be broken totally, and we see the like a new speed, accelerated speed for the rise in price, or maybe the dominance goes down much lower than 30-40% as we saw before. But just remember that thing, and I will show you Cardano at what is Kraken, maybe that's the oldest one. So Cardano, when it was around here in 2017, 2 cents, then first wave, second wave, and the third wave. So third wave gave us $1.3. So it's less than 100x actually, but considering that the capitalization was lower, it's actually even worse performance comparing to, let's say, Solana these days. But still, so we made from 2 cents to 1.3 and less than 100x, so it's 70x, 65x, 1, 2, 3 waves, and then correction. So it looks very, very similar to Solana to me. And moreover, after that, we saw another rise like that. So from where? I would say, okay, from 3 cents to $3, almost 3 cents. So another, is it 3 really? Yeah, something like that. Another 100x. So this is 100x already. As the same way as here, we could make another 100x from $1. It's really, or from XRP, from $3 to $300 as many expected. That's pretty much same here. We couldn't expect too much from that. First wave, second wave, third wave, or maybe this is the second wave. So again, 3 waves, and still we are in a pretty much of the decline. Same here, kind of a fractal. So I don't say that this has to happen again, but history never repeats, but rhymes a lot. Yeah, so therefore, stops are very important. And this is the trend. This is like general statistical history. So please consider that. I know that it's not so nice to hear the things which not so bullish, like we are going to the moon, the Bitcoin price will be $1 million, altcoins will make another 100x. All that is possible, although we shall stay sane, remain sane, right? Okay, guys, there are so many things to talk about actually, but I don't want to keep you for that long, and I would like just to go to the chat and see if you have any ideas on what altcoins we shall look at during this video, and if yes, we will go through them. Suhas, hello again. Thank you for all your messages in the Telegram chat. Okay, sound is good. Can you see Solana, you asked. We did look at Solana. And you got entry for spot buy. Okay, for Solana, as I already said, we have this level. So this level is about $215. So if you can get a little bit below 220, but this is a little dangerous here. So maybe something between 200 and 220. If we get the drop below here, then stop is below 200 and maybe 210 or something. That's awesome. That's great. Another option is that if the price goes a little closer to that low, so something like 2025, for example, if you get here, then set a stop below 2016, and then or 17. That's another way. So in the first case, we assume that the price goes like a lower low, but not below the support here, which was resistance. And in the second case, we expect the price goes below, or not below, but a little close to that previous low, but not breaking it, not making a new low. That's another possible way. So those are 2 levels to go along. But again, stop order is must. you must set it there, because otherwise you may appear to be going 90% drop, as we get with Cardano or all other altcoins which you look through the history with in cryptocurrencies, and then, well, that's not a nice situation. So there you go. Taxedo, would you share a list of strong altcoins? Okay, so strong altcoins are those which are doing much better than the market. So again, I can show you again. AVAX, stronger. Solana, stronger. Then this is not. Even LTC, which made quite a lot, not yet, although I showed you how this looks like before, and breakout, and I showed this tweet before, so the breaking of 230 and we went up, so great. Okay, Zcash, not bad. EOS, no. Qtum, not yet. Theta, could be, very, very well could be, see the breakout, and that would be great. Link, totally great altcoin and holding very nicely. Aave, no. Tethers, yes, but very careful with the breakout, because it kind of sets already to the correction, so it should not drop much from well lower than that. IOTA, not yet, but soon. Well, okay, XRP, probably no. Polkadot, yes, for sure. Uniswap, maybe, but well, with a caution. And I've been looking at something else. What it is? ICP? No, it wasn't ICP. Although ICP is long-term, very, very nice, interesting project, but not yet. What was it? Well, let me see. I remember that was an interesting new alt. Was it Luna? I think Luna showed pretty much similar. Yeah, Luna is stronger than most of the market. So again, strong altcoin. The problem with strong altcoins is that if the market goes down, like overall, then they will drop lower than those altcoins which are weak right now. It's very, very possible. But as soon as the market goes up, we're following the trend, and those altcoins are great choice. Of course, HBAR. Hedera hedge graph. This is another great example. Currently, it so nicely holds this support line, and we are trying to break this 45 cents level, and this is a setup for a massive growth. Absolutely. But again, has to hold that. If not holding, or if the false breakout and down, then just don't be crazy about it. So that's we have to be careful. But until we are going up, until we're not breaking it, and so far as we're going up, that's another awesome choice. And Ether, don't think that Ether is that bad. Of course, the capitalization is so high, and the potential for the growth is not so great comparing with the low cap altcoins, but the setup is so much bullish. So those are few which I would point out. I guess that's enough. Happy Owl, wow, you really are the crypto hamster guy from Twitter. Awesome to see you. Yes, I am. Thank you for checking my tweets. Yes, I do the YouTube videos. Actually, I have the old YouTube channel for the Russian and English together, and I had to split them in two, and then the English appeared to be smaller because it's like a the one which is new, right? And the parallel channel is the Russian one, so most of the viewers and subscribers are there. Therefore, it's not that big one, but I'm continuing making videos here. Happy Owl, could you maybe elaborate as to why you choose Kraken for the exchange on ADA? That's just because it has the longer history here. If you look at the Binance, it starts in 2018, so you cannot see the rise unless you look at the BTC pair. Luis, hello, could you check Theta? Of course, we already look at Theta, and I pointed out that it's very high potential one. It's already broke that resistance line. It held perfectly 5.72, and now it's testing that resistance line. As soon as it's broken, we're like maybe like a little long journey to the upside, to the new all-time high, but much more confident than for the altcoins, for the other altcoins. And I would love to see that happening. Again, should be careful, should set stop losses whatever you feel comfortable with, maybe 5.68 or even 6.4, but as soon as it's broken, you can move those stops a little higher, higher, higher to fix at least some profit. Still, as soon as it's broken, it's a perfect entry, and maybe on the back test for the support line, but in any case, one or another way, it's great entry and nice potential in future. You can check EPS for parabolic. Good catch. EPS. What is this? Yeah, well, I mean, it could. Yeah, right. We were looking at before. It could, but it may stay here for many, many, many months. So while we are holding our cash in this position, other altcoins may perform much better, and you may get those like faster profits on with them, and then return back to EPS. So that's the problem. Of course, if you're not interested in getting too much, but just want to like find this project which you believe it will be higher like within few years, and then you're buying really low, probably you'll be fine. So, but still you're risking, right? So there's always a risk. It's just not so high maybe, and then yes, eventually it'll be high. But if you are more frequent trader / investor like me, then you might want to find something more dynamic. All right, tax zero, KDA, Luna, or Atom. So KDA, let's look at the KDA. Doesn't exist on some of the major exchanges like Binance, for example. It already made not 100 but like 80x from this low, and it's a little over exuberant right now, similar to Solana. I would say it may give you like 2x more, but it's a little risky to go there. If you go with Atom though, Atom, in my opinion, looks a little bit more interesting, but as soon as we hold that again, so you see that's the area here, $28. We went down there. As soon as we hold it, then it's very, very likely that we'll go much higher, and that's like not so much. It's like 10x. It's not 100 yet, so we may expect like 100 from there. Of course, like ICO and so on, where price was lower, but it's still a better chance comparing with the KDA. And I think you said Luna. Luna is pretty similar though, to Atom, in terms of the expectation, in my opinion. Of course, it was so low too, like 40, 20 cents, 30 cents, and generally it made too much. But again, devil is in the detail, right? That price action is so much bullish. It makes new higher high. The only one thing which confuses or like bothers me is the volume going down. So I would like it to be made to make it higher. So therefore, it's a little risky here comparing, let's say, to the Atom. So I probably would pick Atom between those three. All right. I'm tired of holding my Atom back, you wrote. So regarding your Atom back, I wonder what's your entry. So if you bought somewhere here, I mean, that's a bad luck, but unless you did it like on the previous all-time high, then you should have your profit in your bag, right? If it's so, then if you're tired holding it, that's the perfect solution. There is a perfect solution. Just sell, or sell in the way that you will get some profit, maybe not like a major one, but some profit, and then keep the rest for the like rest of your life, or whatever you think is you're comfortable with. But if you can always fix your profit. Profit is always good, even if it's a small one. Fix it. You'll be happier. I promise you. Suhas writing, what about holding KCS KuCoin already did 2x from 10 to 20. Could it be the next platform token just like BNB? I don't think that KuCoin has a lot of a chance to beat BNB, to be honest with you, in terms of like performance of their token. So I wouldn't hope too much. I wouldn't give that token too much of a hope. Although if the price of Bitcoin goes to the new all-time high and like breaking 70k, 80k, then we'll see we'll see a lot of growth in terms of the interest of the traders, and therefore we'll see a lot of interest for trading. So we see a higher volume. Of course, KuCoin will have another rise in volume too, and its altcoin will go up in price as well. So generally, altcoins which are somehow related to the platforms like CRO, right? Crypto.com could go much, much higher, right? So consider that altcoin, by the way. It's interesting. Of course, maybe not buying right now, wait for the pullback, but potentially very interesting. All right. So I guess that we looked at many things, and thank you for all your comments. I appreciate that. And for the next time, maybe you can find some more and give more questions. So we'll go through all of them. All right, guys, for this, it's probably it for today. So let's continue looking at what's happening with BTC, and I will keep you updated on Telegram, and I'll let you know what's happening on Twitter as well. Stay safe and be careful with your positions. Don't forget about your stop losses. Without them, you'll be doomed long term. This is history, or maybe you're like 1 in a million, but it's unlikely that you are. So stay humble and set yourself for the long-term gains, not short-term lottery play. Okay, that is it, and have a nice almost weekend soon. So have a nice weekend, and hope to see you soon in the next video. Goodbye, guys. Goodbye.